What's going on, everyone? Daniel Rodriguez here. It's time to review Legends of Tomorrow, Season 1, Episode 8, titled Night of the Hawk. This is a spoiler review. Make sure you have seen the episode. Man, it should take no less than 2 minutes to recap the episode, give you the pros, cons, and final score. Thanks so much for joining me. Do not forget I review shows like Flash, Arrow, Walking Dead, Better Call Saul, a bunch much more shows, man. I review movies weekly. Basically, any movie that's released nationwide, like weekly, I'm going to be reviewing. So just if you guys are interested, I just reviewed 10 Cloverfield Lane. I have a non-spoiler review and spoiler review if you want to check that out. Please go ahead, man. And next week, or starting Friday, I will be reviewing Daredevil Season 2. And of course, I should have all 13 episodes reviewed within the first 2 days. So if you guys are interested, subscribe, hit that like button, and all that, man. Let me know. So let's get started, man. Legends of Tomorrow is taking a break. It's going to take a 2-week break, and it returns March 31st, the last day of March. So we got like 2 weeks off, man, of Legends of Tomorrow. So, alright, so first off, Night of the Hawk, man. We see these boys in the 1950s, or 1958, I believe. They end up racing, and they end up crashing, and there's this meteor, and Savage is there. And now we see our team, Captain Cold, Sarah, they're in disguise and everything in the 1950s, and basically Sarah's a nurse, Jax flirts with Betty, and Betty is the girlfriend of the boy that went missing from that race that night. Ray and Kendra are at this house. They're kind of like a couple at the moment, you know, they're playing it off, and they really do fit the 50s era. Mr. and Mrs. Knox is at the door, but Mr. Knox is Savage, and I love the way he's just like, "Hello, neighbors," and like, you know how Savage is, man, very devilish and very seducing at times. So anyway, there's a casserole. It's like, he does make a good casserole, you know, Ray's doing his jokes. So there's this party, and he ends up freaking out Kendra. He really is kind of creeping up on Kendra, man. And of course, Sarah is sort of seducing her friend, which his name is Lindsay, at the nursery or hospital, and she finds out she's a lesbian. And Sarah's kind of like, it's okay, you know, because 1958 was a very different time, so she's like, you're a lesbian. All right, you know, cool. You know, so she's kind of seducing her a little bit. There's this weird hawk creature that Mr. Knox, aka Savage, is holding in the Hall H. Was that Hall H? Is that kind of a reference to Comic-Con, San Diego Comic-Con? I don't know. So there's a vampire creature in the cell, and of course Jax is on the date with Betty, and they're talking and everything about just, you know, things going on. Like, oh man, like, she moves real quick. She ended up kissing Jax like real quick, man. And today, you know, it takes a long time to actually kiss someone. So these boys attack. You know, they're kind of like greasers, like, hey, you know, they're attacking Betty and Jax, and this hawk comes down and basically takes the two boys, and it is Tommy, her ex-boyfriend, or I guess boyfriend, missing. So Betty has her throat cut, not like severed where it's like, oh my god, I'm dying right away, but she has to hold on, you know, she's losing blood. And they're driving, and of course this police comes, knocks out Jax, man, and takes him back to Mr. Knox's at the hospital. So anyway, so he takes some. Ray almost got caught because Ray uses his Atom suit into Mr. Knox's house. He takes Savage's knife, and he almost got caught, man. But luckily he was like, flew out like a fly, man. So Betty is getting healed in the Wave Rider. Jax gets Jax gets this meteor juice. Basically, he gets injected into him, and it turns Jax into a living, like, night creature, man. It's pretty ugly transformation. He's basically Savage's slave at the moment. Kendra has the knife, man, and she says, if I'm going to kill Savage, or if anyone's going to kill Savage, it's going to be me. So anyway, she visits Savage. She ends up, like, trying to seduce him and everything, that she has dreams about him. And he knew it was her all the time. He was playing, and he was like, I knew you were, like, he knew it was her the first time he saw her, and he just kind of went on with it, and she went on with it. He wanted to see how far she would go. So he lets the hawks out, like all the creatures out, and basically there's this big old fight, man, you know, big action scenes. Vandal is thrown out of the window. He's blasted out the window. Ray comes in and Iron Man's him, dude, just, and he ends up flying out of the window. Kronos attacks the Wave Rider, and there's this massive fight in the Wave Rider as well, and they end up leaving Sarah, Ray, and Kendra behind in 1958. Man. So what did I think about this episode overall, guys? First off, I do have to say I love the 1950s and the 1958. I've always have been passionate about the 50s, that era. I really wish I was born in that time, or at least be a teenager. It was so happy, jolly sort of time, and now today's all depressed and Bieber and Selena Gomez music. Back in the 50s, man, there were no worries, man. I mean, yeah, you had a few things going on, but it was always happiness, or besides racism and all that. I mean, that's bad stuff. But of course, the 50s were like, hello, hey, neighbor, just walking with a suitcase and everything. And it was easier to pick up women. You're like, hey, you're beautiful. Now, the next day you get married. It was that simple. Now, today, you have to do a bunch of work and everything. 50s were easier, you get what I'm saying. So, I do have to say I love the 1950s, and I love the way they portrayed it in this in the show for sure, man. Vandal Savage himself, dude, another awesome thing, man. I love the way he had like a haircut and everything. He looked brilliant. He looked awesome for the 50s. He was creepy. He was menacing. Definitely freaking out Kendra, and he was freaking out me as well. Jax and Betty, seeing them together, I really like their dynamic duo. I love the way he stood up to those guys at the diner, and he was like, are you talking to me? Like he got up and everything, and he was about to start a fight. Like, come on, you want to go? That was impressive, man. That was really something. I just love it, man, because of course they're all racist and everything. No, Jax is going to take you out like that, dude. Don't even try. I love that, man. Jax is a cool character. The effects, the practical and CGI effects were all good, man. Of course, even Jax. It's good for what it is. When Jax was turning back to human, it was kind of but you go with what you have, man. You really do. The Atom, of course, Ray Palmer, his jokes and him with Kendra, they both look like a 1958 couple. That was awesome, and definitely when he had his suit in Savage, and the practical effect when he went and he turned into life size, that was cool. The creature design, of course, the whole hawk thing, and like Tommy, where it's like, that was a cool design. I really like the way that they ended up making that. I really don't know what you want to call those. I guess they call it Night of the Hawk, like hawk creatures, I guess you want to call them. So that was really cool. Sarah and Lindsay as well, that storyline, was kind of sad. I wanted to see them actually kind of go on. They were sort of interesting. It was sort of fun to see Sarah and them actually interact. She gets to interact with someone and have a little love interest. That was cool. As well as Dr. Stein, man. He was awesome as always. Victor Garber is fantastic. The only cons about this episode, I have to say, man, Kendra was so obvious. Like, Kendra was really, like, the way I don't know whether it was just the actress acting or it was just Kendra herself as the character, but she was so freaking obvious that she was like freaked out by Savage and her facial reactions and her look, and it was just if Savage didn't know, he'd easily find out that quick. I didn't like the ending of the episode. I hated the last shot. Like they close up on Sarah, and then they close up on Ray, and then they don't show Kendra, but it's just like they're doing like, and then oh my god, and then Sarah's like, better question, why did they leave us? And I'm just like, oh my god, really? Are you kidding me right now? So that's kind of what I'm dealing with at the moment. Not much Rip Hunter and Captain Cold, dude. Yeah, they showed them in the episode, but they didn't have much emphasis and balance with them characters, man. What about Betty? What about, isn't Betty, what about Betty? Was she on the Wave Rider? I guess they're going to answer that when we come back, but really, is she on the Wave Rider? Or what about her? I mean, you know what I mean? Oh, no. I'm wrong. I'm sorry. Betty ended up getting back with... okay, scratch that. I'm sorry. I just remember she ended up getting back with... but she never found out of the Wave Rider. I guess she was still knocked out when she got out of the Wave Rider, I guess. I'm not sure about that one. What about Savage? Savage just kind of got thrown out the window. Is he dead? Is he... I'm assuming he's dead. He's an immortal. He'll come back or something. But, what about, like, that's it? Like, he's just thrown out the window, you're not going to go check on him, you're not going to instantly go get a knife and kill him. I guess they just didn't think about that. Some of their suits, they looked really cheap looking, like it was like a play almost, like they were, like, Captain Cold's suit and everything, it just didn't fit well with him. It just looked like it was so fake and prop-ish sort of thing, it didn't look natural. And a little bit of the messy writing, and there was a lot of messy writing within the whole episode. So Overall, I'm going to end up giving this episode of Legends of Tomorrow, Cast Night of the Hawk a B-. I thought it was a good episode, man. It wasn't great, or it was close to okay, but it was a B-, man. It's just a good episode, you know. It has its moments. It's a little bit enjoyable at times. Okay action. Thank you guys so much for watching. Comment down below and let me know what you guys thought about the episode. And until next time, I'll be seeing you guys March 31st for more Legends of Tomorrow. Bye-bye.